Tie this horse to the post. No food or water.
Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron is my favorite movie of all time. It has the biggest impact of my life, and I will pretty much be forever grateful for it. It's my biggest special interest and the one that I've had in the longest since childhood, and actually even made my love for horses. Because of that, I'm currently trying to make the Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron archive, because the only way you can get information about it is through random ass sources, and I just don't care for that. I want to have one compiled place with everything that I've possibly found, and I have multiple gigabytes of just pictures of Spirit and Spirit related things on my hard drive. With that, I spent a good chunk of time going and making a little iceberg for people who are part of the fandom, and kind of making it so that you could see the different layers of everything here. So we're going to start with the sky and go all the way down to the last tip of the iceberg. I'm sure everyone's seen icebergs by now, so I don't need to explain them, but this is level 1. Shrek. We can't talk about Spirit without talking about Shrek. Spirit was one of the last 2D animated movies made, and Shrek was the Dreamworks movie that actually made everything change. Everything in all movie animation changed. The biggest thing about it was that it promoted 3D animation and was so successful that it just made 2D animation not worth the time. Spirit was released after Shrek, however, it was one of the last movies to be released in the 2D format. Kiger Mustang. Spirit in the movie is just listed as a Mustang, however, he is actually a Kiger Mustang. He is based off a horse who modeled for the movie named Donner. He is now named Spirit, and he is residing at Return to Freedom in California. Kiger Mustangs are from a very specific part of Oregon, and they are a very small strand, all normally having the dun factor, and are overall a highly protected strain of Mustang. Buckskin or dun? One of the biggest debates of the Spirit fandom is whether Spirit is just a buckskin, or if he's a dun, or if he's a dun skin, or if he's a buckskin but with a line. The biggest thing is that Spirit has a dorsal stripe, but he doesn't have any leg barring or any shoulder bars. According to the creator, Spirit is a buckskin, and that is possible through the breeding of his mom. Esperanza is a Palomino. Palominos have the cream gene and are normally chestnut. According to the books, which we can talk about later, Spirit's dad is a black horse named Strider. If Strider carried a dun gene, then it could very easily be passed down to Spirit when him and Esperanza had their foal. So it is possible for Spirit to just be a buckskin with the dun gene. And how the dun gene works is that there's 2 types. One that only has the dorsal stripe, and then one that has everything else. And Spirit most likely just has the one that only has the dorsal stripe. Paint horse. In the movie, Rain is a skewbald chestnut paint horse. She has technically a Tovero, if I remember correctly, and she is also registered in the American Paint Horse Society as the only virtual horse to ever be registered. Spirit riding free. Everyone knows about the horrible 2017 remake of Spirit, where he is in 3D, he has Lucky, Prue, and Abigail, and I also have Spirit Untamed on this list where they remade the remake. I'm not going to go into detail on these two because I do not believe that there is much to talk about, and anything I could go to detail on can be talked about later. Briar models. Spirit and Rain both have their own traditional Briar model, Spirit having one where he is kind of posed, and Rain having one where she looks like she is mid-canter. There were prototype Briar models that I will show a picture on the screen here, but they were never put into production. Briar also released models on the Mestino mold, the Mestino mold being a Mustang based off a Kiger Mustang named Mestino, which also means Mustang, as well as it has its own foal that was designed by a fan through a mail-in design contest. Common merchandise. The most common merchandise of Spirit is the Spirit DVDs, the Spirit PC game, And I would even say the Breyer models. Pretty much anything from the Breyer models is what you'll find the most of. There are stuffed animals, there's a lot of pins, and there's even a GBA game. The biggest thing for Spirit's most common merchandise were more of the toy line. So you have a lot of toys, figures, birthday party gear, those types of things were the most common. Spirit 2. Spirit 2 has always been rumored to be something that's going on, and eventually was Spirit Untamed. However, there are quote-unquote Spirit 2s made by one creator who made a bunch of characters. These characters then got popular in Russia without the creator's permission, who then made their own storyline based off the character named Geist. This storyline is not canon, there is nothing true about it, and there is no actual Spirit 2 in production. Spirit of the Wind. Spirit of the Wind was the prototype name for Spirit, as well as these names listed on the screen. We just know that this is true because it's on the production model pages for Spirit, as well as some of the design pages. Spirit is tamed. In a couple of deleted scenes or storyboards, you can actually find Spirit being tamed by the cavalry as one of the possible ways that the movie would have gone. In the original plot of the movie, he would have been tamed and worked in the mines. Stallion fight deleted scene. Another deleted storyline here. Instead of the Spirit fighting a cougar, he originally was supposed to fight another stallion. This scene was fully animated, minus color, and was deleted through the fact that the animators wanted people to always root for horses. So all the horses in the movie are always on Spirit's side, and they didn't want to have him fight another horse in order to make that kind of jeopardized. The Colonel is Custer. Colonel Custer is a highly problematic figure in American history, and I will not be talking about what acts that he has done. However, it is commonly understood that the Colonel from this movie is designed heavily around Custer, and John Fusco, the screenwriter for this movie, has said that he took Custer as his inspiration. Burger King toys. Another one of the more popular merchandise from the movie was the Burger King line. There was a whole trailer, multiple posters, and when you bought your Burger King kids meals, you could get multiple Spirit toys with a viewfinder that would go between a couple of scenes of the movie, as well as had its own little model of horse, and with Spirit and Rain, Little Creek, and the Colonel, who rode on top of the horses. The mines. The original plot of the movie, also known as Schindler's Horse, which is how deep that this movie plot went, was that Spirit originally would be tamed, then sent to a mine and worked inside of a mine pulling carts, instead of pulling the train. This was incredibly graphic, and they ended up scrapping the idea for a much more childlike movie, but you can still find a lot of the production art for this storyline online. Spirit Jr. is Spirit's son. Canon based off Dreamworks' YouTube videos. Spirit Jr. is in fact Spirit's son from the Riding Free series. They confirmed this in a 2D animated YouTube short where you meet Spirit Jr. as a child, and both Rain and Spirit himself make appearances in their actual design in that 2D style before he meets Lucky. So it is confirmed Spirit Jr. is Spirit's son. This throws the jeopardization of the timeline in a whole problem because it was commonly understood that Spirit was from the 1800s, but we digress. He is canon, his son. Star Stable collaboration. In 2017, with the release of Spirit Riding Free, Star Stable and Spirit/Dreamworks actually collaborated to have a whole in-game event and special Mustang horse named Spirit. Spirit would wander around the world every hour, changing locations, and have a quest that you would do. Every time you did this quest, you would gain reputation with him, and he would normally give you an item. You could also buy items based off the Spirit show. When you got max reputation, you would then buy an apple made from Star Coins, give it to Spirit the next time he showed up, and then he would show up in your stable. Spirit cannot be renamed and was the first horse to only have a one-word name, just Spirit. And he cannot wear any tack at all, so he is always tackless, making him pretty much useless in terms of game-wise, but they did discontinue him in around 2020, multiple years after the show had been out, kind of just removing him from the game, and he is unavailable to get anymore. Forever Free. Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron Forever Free is a Windows/Mac PC game, released the tie-in with the movie. In it, you find Rain and multiple members of the herd, a lot of them also coinciding with members from the books, and you rescue them from various situations, such as being captured by wranglers, working a mill, and other various storylines. Storyboard scenes. There were many storyboards that did not make it into the movie, as well as storyboards of scenes that made it into the movie. One of the more popular ones is a storyboard scene of Spirit and Rain looking on a father with his son, who see Spirit and Rain. Not much is known about this scene, but there is a storyboard for it, indicating that there could have been more information that happens after Spirit and Rain meet up, or information on if there was a Spirit sequel in the works. Semi-common merchandise. Some of the most semi-common merchandise include plushes, school supplies, as well as the game itself and the GBA game. Both I'm mentioning on this list. Glacier National Park. Glacier National Park is one of the national parks in the movie that was used for reference along with Monument Valley, Yosemite, and Yellowstone. These were all parks used to make the backgrounds of the movies and are seen in various points of the film. Geographically, they are pretty spread out. However, since this is a Western love movie, they're put together just to kind of make this beautiful scenery. Homeland Pan. The Homeland Pan is the name for the 7-minute long sequence at the beginning of the movie, starting from when the eagle flies across the sun, all the way to when he flies out with the horses. It is a continuous 7-minute long shot that uses both 2D and 3D animation to make the camera work, and is considered the Homeland Pan because of how complex it was to animate. Roblox collaboration. With the release of Spirit Untamed, the game Horse Valley on Roblox ended up collaborating with Spirit Untamed, where you could then participate in a storyline where you obtain Spirit, feed him an apple and he becomes yours, and you go and you find and rescue another wild horse over on a different side of the map. Once you do that, you're allowed to have Spirit forever and continue playing the game as it was normally played. This event has since been closed after the movie was released and out of theaters, making him unavailable. Horsehaven World Adventures loading screen. The original loading screen for Horsehaven World Adventures had a buckskin horse that looked almost exactly to Spirit that was being ridden by the main character of Horsehaven World Adventures. It was then changed to a paint horse, but you can actually still see the old art and a couple bits of the line work when they did change it. So it was probably used to bring people who did like Spirit to play the game. In between frames. In between frames are frames in between main ones, such as if a horse is turning his head or if Spirit is moving. There are frames that are very solid with very solid lines, but there are also frames where it looks like Spirit has 3 heads, multiple mouths, and things that are in between to make animation look smoother. Here's a couple examples of really funny ones. Widescreen versus full screen. The original movie for Spirit was produced only in a widescreen effect. That widescreen effect would be seen at the movies as well as the original copies of the DVD. With later releases, they transferred to a full screen movie, which actually cut out a lot of the backgrounds from the movie and a lot of the actual artwork. If you want to see the movie in the original glory, you should look for a widescreen version. Train scene Mandela effect. Very recently, and also not recently, there has been a Mandela effect talking about how people believe that Spirit saw another horse pass out in front of the train, and that is where he got the idea to do it himself. This has not been found, and it has been confirmed as just a Mandela effect. A Mandela effect is where a bunch of people remember the same thing that has not actually happened. Spirit did not see another horse pass out and get the idea for him. One person even reached out to one of the creators who said that they had seen the idea when Little Creek passes out and pretends to be asleep in front of Rain and then scares her. That technically sets it up. James Baxter. This could be higher on the list, but James Baxter is one of the main animators from the Spirit movie. James Baxter is so famous from this movie because he was the lead animator for Spirit, as well as he did the Drawing with Spirit little DVD featurette. James Baxter went on to be an incredibly famous animator who even has his own character in Adventure Time, a horse with a ball, and that horse constantly runs around saying, "James Baxter." James Baxter is known for how well he's able to animate the quadruped animals, horses, who are known to be one of the hardest animals to draw, let alone animate. Search for Homeland. Search for Homeland is the GVA game released alongside the Spirit Forever Free and the Spirit movie. In this game, you play as either a female or a male Native American person who goes and tries to find horses to go and rescue Spirit and then get back to Homeland. It's not known truly how the game ends, and there is a password system, and the game has been beaten. However, it is also known to be incredibly hard and unforgiving. Life-size Spirit. On eBay around 2017, there was an auction for a life-size Spirit model. I have pictures of it, but the listing has since been deleted. I'm assuming it was sold. I don't know where it is. If someone knows where this is, I want it. I want it badly. I will sell a kidney for this life-size Spirit model. It is multiple feet tall, multiple feet long, very likely used in a movie featurette. I think there's a picture with Jeff Katzenberg, the director of Dreamworks, with the life-size model. I want this life-size model. Rare merchandise. Some of the rarest merchandise would be merchandise from either non-American countries or merchandise such as the cast and crew. Cast and crew merchandise also falls under unique merchandise, which will be talked about in the next one. The foreign merchandise that I personally have are Spanish cereal boxes featuring Spirit. The rare merchandise from foreign countries tends to be cereal boxes, chocolate figurines, postcards, stickers, and various things. The ones that are the rarest are ones from non-English speaking countries, and they tend to have very little times being online. Lost DVD-ROM games. Not lost anymore, but the DVD-ROM games happened when you first had the original releases of the Spirit DVD. If you inserted this DVD into a PC with a DVD-ROM, they would install Interactive Player, which was also on multiple other discs at the time, like Home on the Range. And this was its own interactive player with a Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron skin, as well as its own games. These games were Flash games that I have since been able to upload onto websites, as well as a Spirit Make-A-Movie. The Make-A-Movie action of the DVD-ROM allows you to make your own Spirit movie. It has backgrounds that are stationary, backgrounds that move, movie soundtrack clips, actual sounds and used from the movies, as well as character animations. These animations, many of them are actually not seen throughout the actual movie, and if it is possible to rip them from the files, that would be greatly appreciated. Runs long in the rain. On Jeff Fusco's page, he once tweeted to somebody that Rain's full name, as many Native Americans have a multiple syllable long name that has a meaning, was runs long in the rain. This can probably be said as she was born in a rainy season, according to the Sierra book based off her mother. Cereal boxes. One of the rarer merchandises that I personally own is Spanish cereal boxes featuring Spirit. When many movies are released, they have tie-in with food brands, and the ones that I personally have are like Frosted Flakes and things like that. They were also tied in with sports. Spirit had a tie-in with a soccer event, and a lot of tie-ins with soccer also have tie-ins with food, so these kind of cross over. Unique merchandise. The most unique merchandise would be sold items from the crew. These can be marquees, posters, crew merchandise such as crew-only pewter models, hats, jackets. There was even a national park book with the Spirit logo on it made only for the crew as they visited multiple national parks during the filming. These merchandises very rarely come up for sale. Animation magazine. Our last thing on this iceberg is Animation Magazine. Animation Magazine is exactly that, a magazine that was about animation. I'm pretty sure it's still running. A lot of the older articles were not archived. The 2002 copy of Animation Magazine features Spirit on the cover, but has not been able to be found and scanned for us to see what exactly was said about Spirit. Thank you for watching my video about the Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron Iceberg. This took a long time to make as I really thought about what I was going to put on here, and I'm sure there were things that I missed and things that other people would have added. If you guys have any fun things that you want to add or any questions, feel free to put it in the comments below. And honestly, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I really hope that some of this rare Spirit stuff gets to actually be seen a lot more. So, bye-bye!